House in the Chicago area had a bar.
That's fast.
Beautiful. Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah, The O&M. Hello.
Ready when you are.
All right, good afternoon, and let's go ahead and call to order the City of Topeka Historical Board meeting for May 4th, 2023. Let's start as we always do with our invocation. Councilman Mulberry, I believe you're with us. We're thrilled to have you, sir.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Father, again, thank you for your love, for your kindness, and for your tender mercy. We thank you again for this time of coming together as we have assembled for the business of the city. We pray, God, that you will bless the minds of your people and give us clarity of thought, give us directions as we acknowledge you. We pray, God, that you will bless, give us working minds and knowledge of those things that are needful to move forward in this city. We pray in Jesus' name, amen.
To remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
may be seated.
Thank you.
Having always just left a women's club meeting, I always feel like saying, please continue to stand for the women's club collect. But I won't. Have the roll call, please.
Certainly. Mr. Alan Sheffield is an excused absence for the record. Mr. Larry Beaton,
Present.
Mr. Chris Hollister,
Present.
Mr. Tim Jefferson,
Present.
Miss Brianna Pierce, present. Miss Patty Boat, present. Miss Mary Jane Rosa, present. Noted for the record, alternate member Rosa is filling in for Mr. Sheffield and Chairman Holdsworth. We do have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. Moving on to the appeals procedure and ex parte communication. The appeals procedure, the summary is any person wishing to appeal any decision made by the Historic Preservation Board with respect to any matter considered at such meeting will need a record of the proceedings, and for such purpose may need to ensure that a verbatim record of the proceedings is made, which record includes the testimony and evidence upon which the appeal is to be based. On statute 286.10105. Moving on to item 2 on our agenda, please, the approval of minutes of the April 6, 2023 meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, any corrections or comments? If not, I'm looking for a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
Sorry.
I agree. Let's be fair, we're going to start with Brianna. She was a bit quicker. Thank you very much. All right, all in favor? Can never remember. Yeah, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed. Thank you. Moving on to public comments. Please realize, of course, that our speakers are limited to 3 minutes and we will take no action on items. Opening up to public comment. Glasses, you'll be able to see. Seeing no public comment, I will go ahead and close that section of our agenda. And we will move on to item 4, regular business. Let's begin with item A, HVB case 23-12. A request for a certificate of appropriateness to rehabilitate property to include painting, replacement of roof, windows, siding and door replacement, porch modification, new porch deck, and new wood stairs. The owners are I did this last month. Lehman Bean 117 LLC. The address is 117 Hotel Street, Palatka, Florida, and the parcel number is Laura.
Okay. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Board. The case that we're presenting, HPV 2312, we did hear last month, so it was tabled, and we are returning this month, I'm sorry. The case, because the applicant is presenting us with proposed doors, windows, and siding. So there,
Thanks for that.
here, and the applicant is on Zoom for any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much. If the applicant is with us, did you have something that you wanted to go ahead and let us know about what is new coming back to us this month? We're definitely ready to listen.
Yep. So in the last meeting, we talked about your request for all, instead of like the Hardy Planks concrete siding, to propose a wood siding. So we're proposing this cedar texture wood siding from LP.
Okay, are we going kind of point by point? If so, I have a couple of questions for you, if you wouldn't mind, about the siding.
Okay.
Okay, if we're beginning with the lap siding, we were talking about the LP Smart siding.
Yes.
And our concern last time you were with us was that the Secretary of the Interior, who, as we all know, kind of writes the rule book on what we do as a historical preservation board, really does not care for things that are not wood. They're just not. I always get to tongue tie because I feel like I'm being mean, but I mean, honestly, we take an oath, and we can't just be, to use the Latin term, willy-nilly about our decisions, because they impact other properties and they create precedents, and frankly, we're not allowed to make decisions based on our emotions and feelings. We have to stick by a rule book which is handed to us. I did a little bit of looking because I was trying to figure out what the difference was between what you presented to us last month and what you're bringing back to us this month. And a couple things stood out to me, but I'm a girl and maybe I got confused. But in looking at the LP Smart siding, the first thing that I noticed was, and I'm working off of their website here, under the 13 pros and cons of LP Smart siding, it began by saying that indeed LP Smart siding is an engineered, so not wood, lap siding brand that is comparable to cement siding products. And I, at that point, thought, well, this is sort of coming back to us what we spoke about not being comfortable as a board with last month. Siding, typically, a couple of things. Number one, if it's wood, it's going to have that smooth finished wood look to it. When you get into engineered wood siding, they want to have a textured wood, which, as siding goes, is possibly one of the reasons why the Secretary of the Interior doesn't really approve of it, unless we're not really replacing like with like. Another thing that I saw on their website was It said that the LP Smart Siding tends to provide more of a rustic, almost hand split look to it. This option works well if you're working on a cabin style home. And it also mentioned the deep wood grain pattern, which again, we don't ever really find in a historic
You
wood
would,
siding on a home.
Oh, sorry.
So the more I looked at it,
sorry, ma'am, you went mute on your side.
Oh my gosh. Sorry about that. Do I have to start again? Okay, well, I began by apologizing, but the things that I did was I looked into the type of siding that you're proposing. And some of the things that leapt to my attention when I looked at the website for LP Smart Siding was that it is indeed an engineered flat siding brand that's comparable to cement siding products, which is basically what we said that we were having a really hard time with last month.
Yeah, the reason why I was proposing this was because it's a wood, it's basically wood fibers that's compressed together. And I thought that might work for your guys's approval, even, I mean, granted, it's not solid wood like a solid pine, but it's just like a fiber composite.
I did take that under consideration, but I couldn't really get too far past comparable to cement siding products. And also the providing a rustic hand split look that would work well with a cabin style home with a deep wood grain pattern. It also occurred to me that, and this is absolutely none of my business, but I bet termites love it. The other thing that I just wanted to caution you on, if indeed the board chooses to move ahead with a recommendation on this, is that you would need to absolutely check with the building department to see about whether our building code is going to require you to install a weatherwood structural panel wall between. And I wondered when I read that if that might lead you on a cost basis to go more toward working with the original siding as opposed to tearing it off and starting again. But again, these were just things that I noted.
Okay.
So I'll let you address.
For the lap siding or for the rest?
But as we, I believe, like to do with the historical board, perhaps we should take it on a part by part.
Okay.
So yeah, let's keep talking about the siding for now.
Okay, so yeah, the reason why I selected this was because it was a fiber composite. So it is treated wood that's engineered, and it's just basically glued pressed together to make it look like the cedar texture.
But basically
So-
made of wood.
Yeah, so it's all made, it's basically wood and glue, and then a lot of binders together.
Okay. May I ask Ms. Healy how the building department, or have we thought about this here at the city? I mean,
Are you talking to us?
oh, I'm sorry. No, I was asking city staff.
Hello, can you hear me? Oh, sorry. That's actually gonna be definitely a question for Lisa or the building, inspector at Putnam County. So for instance, we would issue a COA if approved, and then the permit will actually come from Putnam County. So that would be to the building
outside of
inspector,
our-
right, at Putnam County.
Right, so what we're looking at on the issue solely of siding is, are we okay with setting a precedent that we're using an engineered product to side a historic building? And indeed, are we happy with the idea that that engineered siding, would have a wood grain finish as opposed to a smooth mill finish. You know, I turn it over to the board. That was the extent of my looking into the product.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Beaton.
It's okay. So Madam Chair, can I address the applicant?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I guess my question to you is, in looking at the existing structure, and I haven't trespassed in your yard to look at it closely, but I know the house, and are the existing siding that is on the house, what condition, in your opinion, what condition is the existing siding in? And if you needed to continue to use the existing wooden siding on the house, how much of that would need to be repaired or replaced in wood?
I would probably say, because between the termite damage and dry rots, and then just water rot in a lot of different areas, I would probably say probably 25% of the entire house.
Okay, so have you looked into the cost of replacing the 25% in to match the existing siding that's on the house?
Yeah, we did. And honestly, the labor is more intensive than basically the 25% would be cheaper, but then the labor is more expensive in the long run to do it. So they kind of like equal out between the two. Granted, it's 25% less, but the labor is a lot higher because they got to do a lot more patchwork and trying to feather in the wood and trying to make it look right compared to just removing it and putting on all brand new siding. So it was like a toss up between the two.
Okay. Well, obviously, I can't speak for the other board members, but I mean, I think based on, you know, our experience in dealing with the Secretary of Interior recommendations, that if approximately 75% of your structure is sound or pretty much sound, and you're only talking about having to repair or replace 25%, I think me as a board member would feel much more comfortable with doing that than replacing it with a product that's not original to the historic house. And the whole intent, our whole intent, is to try to preserve the historic structures that are within the historic districts that are under our purview. And we're not trying to make you spend money unnecessarily, because we're very sympathetic to homeowners, and we try to work with you as much as possible. And the city of Blackett does a very good job of that also. But I think our preference, and again, I can't speak for other board members, is that we want to try to leave as much that's originally placed if it's structurally sound.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beaton. That was well put. And I will also just speak from some experience, being involved as I have been for about 20 years with my husband and my company, which is historic restoration. They make some wonderful epoxy products that will do a great job on siding that needs some help to build it back in place, as opposed to tearing it out and replacing. Other board members, questions before? Yes, Mr. Renzo?
I wanted to ask about the garage. Is the siding that is currently on the garage same siding as the house?
So the house overall has two different types of siding. The main portion, which you see on the front, is one type of siding, and that was from the main house in 1915. And then the add-on in 1952, if you look at the porch over on the left-hand side, the double stack porch, That is a different type of siding. So there's two different sidings on it. It's almost the same, but it's not.
And is the garage different from those two?
The garage is the same as the 1952 portion.
I think you know where I'm headed. If the garage, if it were my house, I guess, I would consider taking the siding off the garage if it was in good enough condition and putting it on the house. And re-siding the garage in something that is uniform, that also would hold up to the code. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brenta. Other comments from the board, or should we go ahead and open up public comment? Let's open up public comment, and let's begin with Dawn Walls, please. Dawn, if you could come on up and tell us your address for the record.
Hi, my name is Dawn Rawl, and I'm at 2510 Crow Avenue, Florida. I don't know the house and I don't know the people. My husband is a contractor, and LP Smart Side was something that we used a great deal of. They have a smooth side. If you flip over the textured wood side, the other side is a smooth side. So if you were wanting to do a smooth side, they can flip it over. I'm going to read you exactly what LP Smart Side is. It's made from engineered wood that is treated with a Smart Guard process. It is 4 components for protection. It adds strength. It helps the product withstand impact for freeze, thaws, all that kind of stuff, humidity, fungal decay, and termites. Basically, it is a 100% wood product with engineered glue that they've created. They have their own secret glue stuff, and it is a laminated wood, so you can use it for, it would be a beautiful product for wood, for a wood replacement on original historic homes. You wouldn't be able to tell that it is not, it is wood. The reason why it is compared so much with the concrete siding is because it is a lot stronger. If you take a bowling ball and you throw it at a piece of this siding compared to the concrete siding is going to break all day long, and the wood siding won't. So in hurricanes, that's where they want the structural component of the strength of this product versus any other product. And I'm going to be re-siding my dad's house, so I would like to use this siding as well. So if you guys choose it, it would be a great, and I've got way more than 25%. I've got the whole house to read. So I was just giving you input on, a little bit more knowledge and understanding of this product, because it is wood. We stuck it in a bucket of water, and the glue on this product, we actually stuck it in a bucket of water for a month, and then we took it out and put it in air conditioning, and then we threw it outside, and it didn't delaminate or anything. It is a really good product. We've been using it for years, and it's on several houses in the area. There's some houses on Laurel Street up over by the bus depot. The 2 houses that were built historic looking.
Between 9th and 10th on Laurel.
Yeah, with the pineapples and the palm trees cut in. Both of those houses have that siding on it, and they have spelled that siding. So, information.
Thank you very much. Allegra Kitchens. Good, your address for the record, please.
Allegra Kitchens, 1027 South Quill Street, Latin Florida. The problem that you all have, and it's the gentleman, the applicant has, is this isn't a historic. You all do have to abide by the Secretary of the Interior, which says you have to use wood, not a built-up product. I personally believe this product is great. If I have to replace it with siding in my house, which is not in the historic district, I would try to plan this. However, my house was built in 1876, and back around 2006, I had to have about 10 boards on the north side of the house replaced, and my handyman found cedar siding that fit, real cedar siding, no problem, put it up, right size, everything. So I don't think that's necessarily an issue, and if it's almost the same cost, why not go with what the Secretary of the Interior says? Yes, it would be setting a precedent. Again, I'm not a historic district, I don't want to be, this is one of the reasons, but you all are bound by the rules, and I'm afraid that you have to go by that. I don't think you can do this stuff down the drain. But I don't think you can do that when the Secretary of the Interior says you have to have real wood. And I know this is real wood, it's ground up, glued together, and all that kind of stuff, which sounds good. But I don't think you really have any choice in the matter, and I hope that the applicant will, realize that when you say real wood, you mean actually this is all off the trees and not ground up and put together. It's got to be the real thing. It's maybe sad that it's true. Sorry. Thank you.
Discussion amongst the board regarding just siding, please. We are looking for a motion to move forward.
I motion that, we ask the applicant to do wood siding, not to do the one that they're requesting, the last side of it, that has to be real wood. That is my feeling.
I'll take the motion.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to, and if I don't have this correct, please correct me, to work with the siding you've got or replace with wood.
Yeah, I believe if I heard it right, that 25%
Yes.
needed to be replaced. So that to me would be up to the applicant, whether he wanted to do 25% or he wanted to do the whole home all over again with the wood. That would be his decision.
Right. Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. And opposed. Thank you. Let's move on to the proposed doors, if we could. I, for one, am happy to say that I think the concept of a wood door in fir is a wonderful thing.
Sorry.
I have no issue with this product. My only question is typically that particular configuration of glass is not something I've seen on a lot of other historic homes, but in general, I don't have a problem with that at all. Probably at this point, is there anything new that you'd like to tell us about the product that you picked out for the doors, for the proposed doors?
Yep. So these doors are all solid wood. The front doors and then also the side doors around at the double porches, and then also in the back will be like in figure 1. It will look similar to that. All the windows will. We were trying to find a full.
If you don't mind, could I ask that let's just take it bit by bit. Let's stick to it at the moment, if you wouldn't mind. Apologies for interrupting you.
So that was it for the doors. So it is solid wood door with the glass in there.
Okay. Comments from board members, discussion regarding the doors? If we're happy with that, I'm looking for a motion to go and include that part of.
I'll motion to approve the wood doors.
I'll second. Thank you very much. We have a motion to approve the wooden doors in fir. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed. Fantastic. Let's move to the windows if we could. Isn't it nice to just take this one thing at a time? Looking at what was in my packet, I was hoping for some more information. I didn't really see any specifications on the windows, but I understand that they're not aluminum, which made me very happy. Directly above the photo, in our packet, it says stained grade.
Yep.
Window, and that led me to believe that was a wood window. Typically, you don't stain a window unless it's a close wood window product that is not finger jointed, therefore it's able to be stained. But I just wanted to make sure that the stained grade window part at the top matched the window at the bottom, and we were talking about indeed a wood window.
Yep. So the windows are made out of pine. they put some kind of treating on it so you can actually stain it, and then it can be weatherproof towards all the UV and everything. So that's why they put the stain grade. There was a painted grade on there where it was pre-primed, and then they had the stain grade. So we went with the stain grade, so then that and the doors can match when we stain them. And this configuration of the actual window doesn't have the 4 light panels in it, like how that one shows on the top. It's going to look exactly like what's out on the site right now. So it will have 4 light panels, just like how the door does. So you'll have your horizontal bar for the double hung, and then you're going to have 1 vertical bar straight down the center to mimic what you see at the door.
Thank you for that information. And by the way, thank you so much for working with us. Understand that we just want to do the right thing, and you know, sometimes we feel really bad that we kind of run around and go above and beyond. But then again, when you own a historic house, and you typically have to go above and beyond. So thank you very much for working with us on this. Board members, what are your feelings about the windows?
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Are you replacing all the windows?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Deaton?
I just want to confirm that, well, I heard correctly. I think your description was that the end result to all the exterior windows is going to be 2/2. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Ms. Reza?
The window in the picture actually has a different exterior trim than the windows on the front of the house.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but it's much more elaborate. Not that that's a bad thing, it's just that I think just think about it. Because if you're gonna do the whole house, obviously, they'll all be the same. But they won't be like the windows that are currently on the house. Because the exterior window that's in the picture that I'm looking at is a flat stock. If you look at this picture that you sent us, it's not the same trim. Thank you.
Thank you. Other board comments, discussion? If not, let's go ahead and try to move forward. What are we thinking?
Motion to approve windows as presented.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to move forward with the windows as presented. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Thank you very much. Let's continue to the proposed siding. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
15.
Thoughts from the board, please, regarding the siding? We did that.
We did that.
Oh, okay.
I guess, I'm sorry. Okay, circling back around, I believe at the last board meeting, we discussed and had no problem with the replacement of the roof. Is that correct?
Correct.
I thought we did too.
Yeah.
I also thought that we had no problem with the porch modification, correct? Also the new porch deck, correct? The stairs, I don't believe there was an issue with. And I don't believe we were given any information on paint colors to move forward with, so we did nothing on that note. Is that correct? Sorry, to the best of my recollection.
And if I may answer that, and no comments. In the minutes of the last meeting, I recorded a motion by Mr. Beaton to approve the current roof with a metal roof, paint the structure, remove the wall that includes am I reading the right case? Just make sure, yeah. Sorry. Remove the wall that includes the double-story porch, add a wood deck to the back of the structure and wood stairs along the south side of the structure, not the windows, siding and doors. Is Second by Ms. Pierce, motion passed unanimously.
Okay, beautiful. That was my recollection. When I saw it back on the agenda in its entirety, I was a little bit confused. All right, so are we ready to move that? Fantastic. And by the way, I know I've been chairman for a couple of months, but I still get so nervous about all of things, so pardon me. Let's move on to regular business, the HPV case 2313, request for a certificate of appropriateness to demolish 2 accessory structures. The owner is Don Rawls, the address is 210 South 3rd Street, Palaca, Florida, and this indeed is coming back to us from our last meeting.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Board. Again, this is case HPV 2313. It was tabled from the last meeting to give that applicant and the Historical Society time to do some research on the building. And I believe Mr. Beaton has some map that you guys have, and he probably will give more information about that.
Mr. Dean?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was hoping to have a better copy of this, but I brought the wrong table. And so the city was able to locate their copy of the 1930 Sanborn map. So by 1930, Sanborn Map Company was not producing complete map books. What they were doing was what was called pastovers. And pastovers is where the city would submit changes of what buildings looked like that were covered by the fire protection district, and which was the purpose of Sanborn maps, was to write fire insurance policies. And so the map book in the possession of the Putnam County Historical Society, we have the original 1930 book. It has numerous pastovers to it that are included up until 1943. So it's pretty difficult to identify what was there originally. Sometimes you can kind of see through the pastover to see what was there before, and then it's been pasted over, showing the building's been removed. So in this map book, which, like I say, I can't say with any specificity about the year this was done, but there was a pastover over this particular place. So what you're looking at with this attachment, on the left-hand side are railroad tracks that are going down Laurel Street to the river. And then 3rd Street is today's 3rd Street, where the buildings face towards the river, the 2 buildings in question. So this is the first map, Sanborn map, that the buildings actually show up on. So, like I said, I can't say for sure where they are, but you see the building, Donnie Adams building to the right, big building that's there. So that kind of gives you a good idea where they're located. So what it says on these, and you'll have to take my word for it because I just looked at the original map before coming to this meeting. The building that's standalone, that's in the middle, has the letter S on it, which is signified as just a storage building. The building to the right says A and coffin storage. So the A would be automobiles, which would be hearses, and they cost, of course, the coffin storage. It's my understanding, and I tried to find a document to back that up. It's my understanding that in a slightly later period than this, that the small building to the left, the standalone building, it was housing coffins at that time, and there were 2 hearses rather than 1 in the building on the right. So it was kind of difficult researching the history of these buildings because only in very later times was this used as a residence. In the either my memory's failing, I didn't make that note to bring with me, but either in the 1980s or 1990s, there was a sewing shop located in the standalone building. And when you go back and look at the city directories all the way back to, I checked the city directories back to the 1920s, They really don't talk about occupancy of these buildings. And I like say, I assume building was built sometime between, the buildings were put up sometime between 1930 and 43. And if anyone has any questions, but that's about all I've been able to ascertain about the history of the building since then. And this was not presented, just for the record, this was not presented to the entire Historical Society, but I act as I'm the current historian for the Putnam County Historical Society.
Thank you, Mr. Beaton, and you're also our historian.
Okay,
We appreciate you.
thank you.
All right, Don, come in. Let us know what's going on, please.
Don Rawls, 25 Penfield Avenue, Florida. Thank you, Mr. Beaton, for the history lesson. I'm gonna, visit you one day for more information. As I told you last time that I was here, I wanted to, tear these buildings down, but I kind of am fascinated by the history of the garage building as a storage unit. The other building, as far back as I can remember when my mom purchased it, it's always been vacant. So I don't know if there's any significance in the smaller building. But if there was any way to tear one down and not the big garage and incorporate the garage building into something else that would be historically pleasing, that would be an option too. But you guys are gonna make a decision whether.
We appreciate you working with us on this. We really do. Thank you very much. We should probably at this point open up to public comment. So let's go ahead and do that. Yes, ma'am.
It just had a liquid kitchen, in 27 South 12th Street, Latin, Florida. I don't have any problem with the small building being torn down. During World War II, it was used by the Red Cross or the Army medical people, and it was used to test for STDs, to put it nicely. So I don't think it really has any historical significance that we would want to necessarily remember or keep. So, and Master's Funeral Home did use it briefly, maybe in the 70s. I think it might have been as an office. I'm not sure if they just stored coffins or they used it as an office, but I don't think the historical significance of what it was used for during World War II to test soldiers is necessarily historic, not in the sense that we want to, preserve it. Thank
Not
you.
even a carefully worded plaque.
Can I wear the black? I would do see one.
Thank you very much. Comments among the board members. Mr. Dean.
I just wanted to add to the city, and we talked a little bit about this the first time this came before us, but if the board today votes to remove the standalone building, at that point, the procedure that's in the city ordinance kicks in, that this is referred to the Historical Society. Is that correct?
This is Valeria Thomas, and you're correct, Mr. Beaton.
Thank you, ma'am.
One of the concerns that was brought up last month was that vagrants might get into either one of the structures and create some havoc, and that wasn't a good thing to have, obviously anywhere, but specifically around kids and playgrounds. Have you made an attempt to secure the property, Ms. Morales?
Well, I was waiting to see what your guys' answer was, but it's not there. We're gonna be evicting all of their everything out of it. It's not, they're not just staying there temporarily. They're in and out apparently. And I don't go out at night, so I don't know if they're there every night, but I have viewed the property and there's remnants of them staying there. But for me, in order for me to secure that door, they've completely busted the wood door, so I would have to frame out the whole set. There's actually a metal frame that's there now with a very thin door with a window in it. I would have to replace something. I would have to go back further than, that wood door because it's not secure at all. And then the framing in it is not secure. There's a lot more than just taking it and. There's a hodgepodge there.
Another Latin term.
Yeah.
Right, thank you very much. Thoughts from the board?
Yes, I'm wondering what condition the garage is in structurally. 3-door garage.
I've not had anybody in that garage. It is secure and, I don't have any issues with the garage. The doors on the garage are like a sliding, it's really cool. So I would be in favor of leaving that and all of the historic part of that on the property.
So what you're saying is you're almost removing your intention to demolish the garage completely.
Correct,
because you're-
correct. Just the little building. The back of that little building is like wide open and there's different levels of floors, like it's been like poured on and poured on and poured on. Almost, it doesn't look like permitted work at all. It's thin concrete, it's all cracked. So, restoring this would be basically tearing most of it, getting rid of all the stuff on it. And I don't even know what is salvageable on it, to be honest with you. But the garage now, the bigger building that's on the right of the picture is the garage. That is really cool, and I don't think that needs to be touched as far as demo. I think we can incorporate that into something else that would be pleasing to that area.
And so for our purposes today and for the board purposes, we're talking about not the garage, just the little building.
Yeah.
Your request
And,
for demolition.
the historic part of that building is really cool. They stored their hearses and from what I gathered, some of the coffins, but the other building isn't, I don't.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so board members, what we're looking at this point is demolition of the smaller structure, but maintaining the larger, more historic structure. So your thoughts, please?
I say tear it down. It really has no historical value. Just let them tear down the little building.
Is that in the form of a motion, Mr. Hollister?
Okay, I'll make it in form of motion. I like a motion that they are giving me permission to tear it down.
The smaller.
The smaller structure, yeah.
Do we have a second?
Second motion.
Thank you, Ms. Reza. All right, we have a first and a second to only allow demolition of the smaller structure. All in favor, please say aye.
Okay.
And opposed? Thank you very much. Motion carries. All right, moving on to
Madam Chair, if I may,
certainly.
may I direct a question to Ms. Thomas? Ms. Thomas, this is Sunny, the city clerk. Just have a question regarding the demolition, part in the code. It says that this matter shall be referred to the Historical Society Board of Directors. We know that we have multiple board members that serve on the Historical Society Board of Directors. If the Historical Society Board of Directors speaks on this matter, being there's 2 or more board members, would that be a violation of the Sunshine Law? Or no, because they've already voted and the case has been heard?
Well, this meeting of the Historical Preservation Board, of which some of our members are part of the Historical Board, has been advertised, so there's no violation there. And the Historical Board is not a city board, and so therefore, whatever their advertisements and notices requirements are, they will have to comply with. And so we can move forward.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to item 5 on our agenda, which would be staff comments.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
I was just taking a quick look at the ordinance regarding this. it says that, now the pertinent part here. In the case of the proposed demolition of an existing structure, that the removal of such structure will not be detrimental to the historical and architectural character of the district, or that balancing the interests of the city in preserving the integrity of the district and the interest of the owner of the property. Approval of the plans for demolition is required by considerations for reasonable justice and equity. In the latter event, the board shall issue an order postponing demolition for a period of not to exceed 3 months. If the board concludes that the demolition should be postponed, it shall, before issuing any final order with respect to such postponement, before the applicant an opportunity to appeal before the board, to offer any evidence they may desire to present concerning the proposal. Within that period of postponement, the board shall consult with the Putnam County Historical Society Board of Directors and others to ascertain what the city or other agency or organization may do to preserve such structure, and shall make recommendations to that effort to the city commission, or otherwise cause the structure to be preserved. This article shall not apply to any permit for demolition which has been applied for in proper form prior to the effective date of the ordinance from which this article is derived. So I guess my question to the city attorney would be, is for that postponement to take place for the review by the Putnam County Historical Society, does that require a separate motion by this board?
Okay. The motion that was just voted on by the Historical Preservation Board was just a recommendation that for the demolition of the structure. It still has to go through the process that's described in this ordinance. So the board, if they like, could, because at this point, we haven't said that, it has to be demolished within a certain period of time. You have just voted just in favor of approving the demolition. And so therefore, the process that it needs to go through, it still has to, and we have not put a time period on that. So it still has to go, and the applicant has to make sure that it moves forward through the process that is outlined within the ordinance.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Yeah, that was a great many words. It sounded like at the end, she might be getting a new building over at the Baltimore Hall House, but all right, moving along to item 5 on our agenda, staff comments.
Madam Chair, if I may, I do have a staff comment. All right, so as you guys know that May is National Historic Preservation Month. Our Mayor Robbie Correa would like the city to issue a proclamation in favor of Historic Preservation Month at the City Commission's second meeting in May, which is May 25th at 6 o'clock. I provided you each with a copy of the proclamation that we did last year that this board voted on the last year's meeting. And I just was bringing it back to you guys to see if you had any scratchers and markups if you'd like to give to me before we get off the agenda the Friday before the 25th meeting. I'm happy to make any corrections you would like. And of course, you'd all be welcome to accept the proclamation at the May 25th meeting.
Board members? Mr. Peterson.
The only question I have, if I refer everybody to the second paragraph, do you think in the second line, fostering local price is clear enough about what the intent of that wording is?
Oh, pride. Are we talking about?
All right, typo.
That's a D, right?
Oh, that would be pride.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Oh, I feel much better. The city reaches out a lot, and I want to make sure y'all are into land sales. That's part of your primary mission.
And
Good eyes.
if I know the,
I read it.
the historical autocorrect board. All right, ladies and gentlemen, anything else regarding the proclamation? I saw nothing, I didn't catch that, so I saw nothing wrong with it. The only thing I thought was, do we want to change the dates? But obviously I had an early copy.
Yes.
Right, does that answer your question? We good to go? Fantastic. Let's move on to board comments, if any. Our agenda item 6, right before our agenda item 7. In that case, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. And let's go ahead and adjourn our May 4th Historic Preservation Board meeting. Thank you.